Okay, I'm making another one of these videos because just taking my word for it on something isn't great. Who am I? I'm just a guy. I make videos. Who cares? I have no resume that I can point to and go, oh, look at all these years I spent doing X, Y, and Z, so this is why you should trust me. I don't have those things, but I can point to somebody that does have those things. And I can point to results. I can point to the exact track record that this individual is pointing to himself and go, look, here he is talking about it. The reason I'm making this video about MicroStrategy again is because of this tweet right here from American Hodl. And American Hodl has been in Bitcoin for a hot minute. And he's fairly caustic with how he speaks. I like him. He's silly, he's funny, but he knows what he's talking about. And he just tweeted this a little bit ago. I'll get it up here. He said, couldn't sleep last night. Woke up at 1:30 a.m. and watched the earnings call twice. He's talking about the MicroStrategy earnings call. How do I know that? Well, context. Finally, everything clicked for me and I realized MicroStrategy is going to $5,000 this time next year, $5,000 per share. For context, that is more than a 10x from where it's at right now. It is currently sitting at, let me see, I think it's something like $350-ish per share. MSTR. Okay, a little bit less than that. It is at 327 right now. So that's more than a 10x. That's a lot. Let me break this down real simple for you. If you don't understand what that means, you put $1,000 in, you get more than $10,000 out. You put $100,000 in, you get more than $1 million out. You put $1 million in, you get more than $10 million out within a year. Within a year. Now, I need to make this real clear. I probably should have started with this. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own due diligence, make your own choices. Do not point to me and say, oh, Dell told me to do this and told me to do that. Nope. No. I am trying to streamline this process. I'm trying to make this as dummy friendly as possible. And I'm not calling you a dummy, but the whole reason they have those For Dummies books is because maybe you don't have the time to go and do a 4-year degree in pick your field, but you do have enough time to read a book. So that's what I'm trying to do here within, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay. What you need to understand, going back to this tweet here real quick, is that what MicroStrategy is doing cannot be replicated the way that they have done this. They are so far ahead currently that trying to catch up to them it only helps MicroStrategy. If Apple, Google, any of the big players, the people that actually potentially have the cash to do something like this, go in, buy thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, it would drive the price up so drastically, and that only helps MicroStrategy. They beat it. They won. They won the game. They won the money game. And it might just take a little while for the world to catch on and figure it out. But they are. Just today, Dennis Porter of the Satoshi Action Fund announced that the state of Pennsylvania, the state, is looking to start a Bitcoin strategic reserve. You will not hear this. You will not hear an Ethereum strategic reserve. You will not hear a Doge. And I'm not talking about Elon Musk and Vivek. I'm talking about all the other cryptos. If it isn't Bitcoin, then it's trash. Just end of story. It's crap. It's trash. So finishing this tweet, finally everything clicked for me and I realized that MSTR is going to 5,000 this time next year. So I doubled my position at market open. I expect I'll sleep better tonight. Okay. Now this is what we need to go through. I need to explain this to you a little bit. MicroStrategy is more volatile than any S&P 500 stock. 108% compared to other Supermicros, Moderna, First Solar. It's more volatile than any of those. The players on Wall Street like that. They like that a lot. Well, how do you know that they like that? Next slide. MicroStrategy has outperformed Bitcoin and M7 via intelligent leverage. They have outperformed 1,989% stock performance since August 10th, 2020. They've beat Bitcoin. They've beat the S&P 500. It's not even remotely close. Look at that tiny number there, right over, where's my finger? Right here. That's the S&P 500 at 74%. You've got NVIDIA at 1,165%. Hey, that's pretty good. It's nowhere close to 1,989%. And then you've got Tesla down at 174%, Google, Meta, all in the lowerish 100%, Netflix at paltry 57%, Amazon at 21%. MicroStrategy is blowing them all out of the water by orders of magnitude. It's not even close how they have outperformed. Annualized asset performance chart over 4 years. Again, blown it out of the water. This one, the orange one right above my head, let me go this way. That's MicroStrategy. Absolutely killing it. They're doing better than Bitcoin. They're way better. Basically almost 4 times better than the Magnificent 7 and 5-6 times better than the S&P 500. There's not something better and this isn't, oh, we did this over the last week. Look how good we're doing over the last week. No. This is 4 years. This is an entire Bitcoin cycle. This is once MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, the whole team over there decided, hey, let's do this. And something that was talked about in one of the many things I've listened to is that people don't think that this was Saylor's idea for a while. And he's even said as much. I don't know if he's actually said when it clarified what they were doing, but initially, the whole reason that MicroStrategy got into Bitcoin is he needed to save his company from dying. They were dying. They were just existing. They were one of those, and I've talked about this in one of my other videos. If you imagine the volatility like fish in fish tanks, and volatile fish are the ones that are swimming all around, they're doing stuff, they're active. And then the most of the stock market are just these lazy fish that are just kind of there, just not doing much of anything. And then you in the pet shop with all these fish, you've got degenerate gamblers that are simply betting on which fish is going to go up to the top of the tank and which one's going to go down. So the ones that are moving the most lively ones are getting the most betting action. And the ones that are down on the bottom, they're not really doing anything. They don't really see much action. They're just kind of there. And that's by far most of the stock market. Saylor was one of those fish. He was one of those sad little pathetic fish down there, realizing that they were just existing. Stock market wasn't paying them any attention. Nobody cared. They were just there making a living. For how much longer, they didn't know. And he saw what was happening with the money printer during the COVID days and said, we're not going to live. There's so much money being printed. What do we do? How do we escape this? What do we put our money in? And thankfully, he had a friend that was already in Bitcoin. After a few conversations there in Miami, he said, I'm going to look into this. I'm going to deeply look into this. And when you hear Saylor talk, and I've heard him on, I don't know, multiple dozens of podcasts at this point. I've heard him talk for literally hundreds of hours. You realize this is not a dumb man. This guy is very, very smart. It's one thing to know something and be able to do it. It's a whole nother thing to be able to explain that to other people. But it takes a certain kind of genius to take these extremely complex and hard to understand ideas and make it understandable for any idiot. That is truly impressive. And this is why people love listening to Michael Saylor talk. They love listening to him talk because they go, oh, that's what all these other people have been saying. I get it when he explains it like that. Light bulbs. Boom, 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 boom. Light bulbs. Blah, 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 blah. And that's what I'm trying to do here in some way, is explain in no uncertain terms how good of an investment this is. Now, again, not an investment advice. Don't come pointing to me when this or that, when you do really well, when you do really poor. I'm just trying to explain this the way that I see it. Annualized asset performance chart over 4 years. See that orange one? Completely obliterating everything else. Bonds, negative 5%. To MSTR's 105% over 4 years. Gold barely treading water. I mean, it's not even really. People are like, whoa, look, gold, the price of gold. Look at, oh my goodness. Let's look at the price of gold. Gold price. Usually there I can find a chart. Chart. Here we go. Okay. Oh wow, that's at $2,500. Oh, look at that. Okay, let's do 5 years, and go back to 2020, right here. Oh, what was it then? $1,500. So it's gained $1,000, but has it? Oh, this is where that crazy thing inflation comes in. It really hasn't gained that much when you factor in inflation. It's done a little better, a little, but not great. Not great. It hasn't done this. It hasn't this right here. This one. It hasn't done that. Hasn't done that. Let's go to this other one right here. Do you see this? It's kind of hard to see, but this very top, this one right here, is open options interest in billions. Now you've got Nvidia, you've got Tesla, you've got Apple, you've got Meta, you've got Microsoft, and you've got Amazon. Those are all companies that everybody has heard of. It doesn't matter what country you're in, you've probably heard of those countries. Of the 8.5 billion people on this planet, more of them than not have probably heard of those companies. At least a few of them. Tesla, Apple, I mean, come on. Yeah, of course. But what the heck is MicroStrategy doing up there with those big boys? Most of those are trillion-dollar companies, or better in some cases. MicroStrategy is a 65 billion dollar company. What the hell are they doing up there? Remember the pet store with the fish, the lively fish, and the degenerate gamblers? The degenerate gamblers, that's Wall Street. The lively fish, those are all the stocks. They're one of the liveliest fish there is. They are up there competing in terms of interest on the open interest in billions. They're right up there. They've got the attention. They are participating with the likes of companies that are vastly bigger than them. That's a sign of something. Daily traded volume. You've got down here, this one right behind my head. You've got Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Advanced Micro Devices, and MicroStrategy. And then you've got Amazon and Alphabet and Boeing. Again, what is MicroStrategy doing up here with all? I don't know what Advanced Micro Devices is, but that's crazy. And then over here, this one right over this one right up there, the top, whatever, the one with these two with the big orange bars, those are MicroStrategy. The top one, options open interest in billions as percent of market cap. MicroStrategy is demolishing the competition, not even close there. And then one below that, daily traded volume as of percent of market cap. Again, MicroStrategy is absolutely winning in ways that doesn't make sense. Until it does. And this is what I want to drive home, because if somebody has been in the financial world for a while and they've been paying attention to this stuff, they're like, oh yeah, it's all it is speculation and people looking at Bitcoin and it's a flight, a fancy thing. No, it's not. It is not. Bitcoin is here to stay at this point. You could have used those reasons and you could have pointed to those things 10 years ago, 5 years ago even. I don't know, the institutions aren't here. Now they are. Now the institutions are here. We have BlackRock and Fidelity, the whole ETF thing, trading billions of dollars a day. Billions of dollars a day. And right above that, in terms of built on that entire thing, on that entire system is MicroStrategy. Now, Saylor maybe said it best when he likened what MicroStrategy is doing to, it's either Standard Oil or Standard Gas back in the day. There's all these different products that you can get from petroleum. Now, if you want to invest in a petroleum miner, okay, that's fine. That's great, and they'll just keep on chugging along, and yes, the world's going to need petroleum, but the world needs the products that you get from the petroleum more than the petroleum itself. If you just get a big barrel of crude oil, there isn't a whole lot you can do with that. I have no use for that. I can't do anything with that. But if somebody gives me the same giant barrel of unleaded gasoline, okay, now I can do something with that. I can put that in my vehicle and I can drive, I can go to places. That has value to me. A big barrel of petroleum has no value to me, except to maybe trade to somebody that can do something with it. So it's an extra step. So it has value in the sense that I can maybe trade it for something to somebody that can use it, but in and of itself doesn't do me all that good. Now, it's not a perfect analogy because I can use Bitcoin, and you might say, well, what is your position? Why aren't you going crazy and putting everything that you can into MicroStrategy? Well, it's complicated. I guess it's not that complicated. The short answer is I can use Bitcoin in a way that I can't use MicroStrategy. I can use Bitcoin in the day-to-day. So it's this weird paradox in that I do believe that Bitcoin is the strongest horse in the race. It might not be the fastest horse in the race, and the race is get a lot of money as quickly as possible. But as more companies do things like MicroStrategy, maybe not exactly like them, what they're doing, but coming up with different uses and ways to utilize Bitcoin, and Bitcoin starts to be used as an actual currency. It is a money. It's a money. That's unquestionable at this point. But as a currency, when I can go to a coffee shop or pay groceries with Bitcoin, whether or not I actually see that happen, it might be a system where the price on screen shows me a dollar price, but then I use my phone and then it's an instant auto convert from the Bitcoin into dollars, and I don't even see that. It's back channels and whatever. So I'm still using the Bitcoin. My Bitcoin goes down. It's instantly converted to USD, pays for the groceries. There we go. Whatever. That's a possibility. I don't know exactly what the next years are going to look like. But one thing I do know for a fact, without a doubt, is that Wall Street's going to want to keep on making money. That has always been the case. That is what they do. That is what they're in the business of. I've said this before. And what MicroStrategy is doing is allowing people to get access to this thing, get access to this stuff in a way that they couldn't before. Imagine if you realize that, again, to the Standard Oil thing, that petroleum was this incredible thing. Oh my goodness, the world is going to need petroleum. All the stuff that we can do with it. And things that we haven't even dreamt up. Do you think that they had all the uses for petroleum dreamt up when oil was first discovered to be used as, say, a gasoline? Did they know that they were going to be able to use it as asphalt or plastic or all the different downstream effects that you can use from petroleum? And I don't know which one of those things came first. Maybe it was the asphalt first or the rocket fuel. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is, do you think all of the uses were discovered on the same day, at the same moment? Oh, here it is. Answers unlocked. There it is. We have it. That's not usually how things work. Usually you discover this and then you realize there's this byproduct and then you can use that byproduct for something else that's really useful. There's all these downstream effects of discovering a thing. MicroStrategy is one of the uses for Bitcoin, but it is allowing markets to get access to Bitcoin that can't otherwise get access to Bitcoin. It's allowing players in the make money as much money as you can game to do that in a way that they might not be able to with Bitcoin. Either they don't understand Bitcoin, but they do understand equities. They do understand stocks, so they can get into MicroStrategy that way. I don't really get Bitcoin. Doesn't matter. I can get into this thing over here. Or maybe they do understand Bitcoin and want to get access to it, but their board is not allowing them to, or they can't. I've pointed this out before, but Gabe Newell said that even if they wanted to make a decision over at Valve, the software company, the platform, Steam, video game thing, that sometimes there's things in the pipeline that they just can't undo. They have to come to fruition. There's different contracts, different agreements. So even if a company knows that it is in their absolute best interest and everybody is on board and everybody wants to get Bitcoin, they still might not be able to, because of different agreements, different contracts they have in place, different things that they have lined up. They can't. Their hands are legally tied. They're bound. And even if theirs aren't, they're like, look, if we cut all these ties, and but we have these contracts and we can't go against those contracts, or even if we could go against those contracts, the people that are downstream from them, they can't because of different legal bindings. We can't do this. There's zero way for us to do this. Even if we were to say, let's cut all ties with everything and just go our separate way, we're gonna take our public company and make it private. That takes time. There's court stuff and there's different things. Like, you can't just do this on a whim. The bigger the company, the harder it is for that to happen. It's even true of small companies. I work at a small mom and pop place, and even if we decide to do something, for example, we wanted to put new locks on some doors. And so some calls were made. That takes time. Had to do some research about the various locks. That takes time. Then we had to wait on information back about the locks. That takes time. And then they had to make a decision about if those were the right locks, given the price. That takes time. And then sometimes you can't get a hold of the person, or this person isn't at work yet, so you've got to wait for that. And then once you get to that person, then you talk to them. A week has passed, and you're like, okay, well, let's not go with that. Let's go with the first ones that we talked about. Seems like that's a better deal. So then you've got to call the place back. Oh, they're out of those locks because other places decided that they wanted those for the same reasons that we came to the conclusion. And then they said, all right, well, okay, we got to talk again. We got to meet. Do we want to wait? Because they're on back order now. They just don't exist. Currently, the factory's got to make more. So now we're 3 weeks into this and we have some more conversations. Yeah, let's go ahead and line it up. Okay, well, all of our technicians are currently booked up because everybody else in the area is wanting these exact same kind of locks because they're really good. Blah, 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 blah. The price point is wonderful. Da, 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 da. So we're 6 weeks into this just to get some locks on a mom and pop place. And then we go, you know what? Screw all this. Let's not do it. We can put locks in ourselves. We'll go and buy them. They might not be quite the same type, but it's going to work for our needs. And we're 2 months down the road. Now, that's not exactly what's happened, but you get my point here. This happens in your home. Hey, we need to fix this leak. You call the plumber. Oh, it's going to cost you $350 for us to just come out there and look at it. $350 just to look at it? It's a leak. Yeah, but we don't know how bad of a leak it is. Okay, well, I'll call my buddy. He's a plumber. Oh, well, he charges less than them. Well, it's only going to be $100 because I know you, but I'm super booked up. I can't. I've got appointments. So the soonest I can get out there is going to be 10 days. Okay, well, this is a leak. We need something now. So you call a different plumber. You get my point here. That's for you at your home. And you can move faster than a large corporation. I hope you can appreciate that. And if you can, then you see exactly where I'm coming from here. If you can't, if you don't understand what I'm saying here, then Lord help you. So no matter how badly a corporation, a company, public, private, whatever, public's even harder because then you've got your whole shareholders to take into account. And whoa, they don't want you to get into Bitcoin because Bitcoin? What are you talking about? I don't know about all that thing. But even if you're a private company, it might be really difficult to do. But hey, MSTR, that's a stock, that's an equity. We're already signed up for that because that's a thing that exists and has existed for, I don't know, 100 and some odd years. So we can get into that. So there's so many reasons why MicroStrategy is a good bet. Again, not financial advice. Not financial advice. But it seems basically impossible to me that MicroStrategy doesn't, at the very least, double in the not so distant future. So again, let me make that really clear for you. You put $1,000 in, you get $1,000 out. You put $10,000 in, you get 20 out. You put $150,000 in, you get 300 out. And I think that a 2x for where MicroStrategy is at right now is that could happen within the next couple of months, the next month or two. That could happen so fast. A 10x seems very possible. Now, when people start talking about 100x, for them to go up to a $6 trillion company being the number one company in the world, okay, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of other factors that would have to come into play there probably, like nation state adoption to Bitcoin seems to be happening actually as we speak right now. A lot of talk about why this run up from in the last couple of weeks has gone from the mid 60s to the mid 80s, $20,000. Look at this. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. This is crazy. Oh yeah, it's down to $88,000. Oh my God. Oh, it's dead. It's all right. Call it. Okay. In 6 months, this is what it's done. This is what it's done in a month. It was at $65,000. October 14th, 2 weeks before Halloween. And right now, $88,000. More than $24,000 in a month. And people are saying that this right here, the past week or so, this was some oil-rich nation. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But what I do know is that the current administration, the incoming administration, the Trump administration, is hugely pro-Bitcoin. You've got Elon and Vivek and JD Vance. They're all known Bitcoin holders. Trump is a known Bitcoin holder. He went to Bitcoin places. He went to the conference. RFK, hugely pro-Bitcoin. Pennsylvania, which went red for Trump, is looking at pro-Bitcoin legislation. And anything that's good for Bitcoin is doubly good for MicroStrategy. Because remember, again, if you're like, wait a second, how is it doubly good for MicroStrategy? It might even be more than doubly good for them. Because the more of the raw material that they get, think of them as Standard Oil. If they get more raw material, they can do more things with it. So you can buy this, or you can buy the company that's doing this, and then this, and then this. Do you understand? Is this? I hope this is clicking for people. You can invest in the petroleum, or you can invest in the company that's doing this with the petroleum. And but there's only so many people that can get exposure to this for any number of reasons. Lack of knowledge, whatever. Lack of ability, whatever. Not that many people can get exposure to this. But how many people can get exposure to this? Well, maybe not everyone can get to these, but maybe somebody can get to this, or this, or this. Think of it like petroleum. Again, what can you do with petroleum itself? Just raw crude oil. Not much. What about gasoline? Well, I can put that in my car. Lots of people can use gasoline. What about jet fuel? Well, not as many people use jet fuel as use gasoline, but it might be more than just raw crude oil. It's certainly airplane fuel. Hey, there's a lot of industries, a lot of places that use jet fuel. What about asphalt? Well, there's a lot of roads being built and maintained, so there's clearly demand for that. All sorts of city and municipals and different infrastructure projects, there's demand for that. What about plastic? Well, I don't know. Have you ever seen something made of plastic or has plastic in it? I sure have. It seems to be everywhere you look these days, so clearly there's demand for plastic. There are so many uses for that thing. Same too with Bitcoin. There isn't a whole lot of uses for Bitcoin in and of itself. But if you have a company utilizing that Bitcoin, that gets really interesting real fast. Think of it like real estate. If the whole petroleum thing didn't work for you. What can you do with the land itself? Not a whole lot. Just you can live on it, I guess, but you'd have to build a home. But what if you're a real estate developer? You go in, you buy the land, and then you build a 10-story building with retail space on the bottom or the first few floors, like in New York. In New York, a couple different floors have this or that, and then some of it is homes. We've got the people that are living there. You've got the people that are using the retail space. You've got the people that are visiting the retail space. So there's a way bigger list of uses for that real estate when it's in the hands of a real estate developer as opposed to just being land. It doesn't mean that land is a bad idea, but in the hands of the right person, it's a whole lot better. If you start to think of Bitcoin as a tool and MicroStrategy as a craftsman that knows how to wield that tool because they've been in this for the last 4 years, that's a way different way to see this. And your average person that has been in the markets will not understand this. Most people won't. The reason that I can see this, the reason that the people that I follow on Twitter can see this, the reason why my brothers can see this, the reason why the people that have been in Bitcoin for enough time to have had hundreds or thousands of hours of research understand it is because they have put the hundreds or thousands of hours into understanding this. I can confidently say that I understand things about the monetary system that a professor of finance didn't. Now, I might now. I'm talking about... Where is he at? It was just on the Tim... Oh, that ain't what I want. Tim Kotzman. Where is it? This guy, Tad Smith.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
This guy, right here. The guy with the salt and pepper, white, gray hair, the jacket, sport jacket, no tie. That's Tad Smith. He was the CEO of Sotheby's. He was, Tad Smith is a CEO and investor. He's currently a partner at One Round Table Partners and the former CEO of Sotheby's and Madison Square Garden Company. He was a professor of finance, and he did not understand things that I understand. He did not understand that the S&P 500 is basically, it's doing a little bit better than inflation. His numbers, I think, are a little bit off, but whatever. It's not really making you all that much money. Most of the gains that you see in the S&P 500 is coming from the money printer. They're treading water. He didn't know that. He was a finance professor, and he didn't know that. Do you think your average person that's in finance, not a professor, not a CEO of Sotheby's, not the CEO of the Madison Square Garden Company. No. I'm just talking about your regular family advisor. Do you think they know this if he didn't? There's not a chance. Not a chance in hell. Okay, there's a chance. But it's a really, really, really low chance. This is what I do. This is what I do. I listen to podcasts. I probably consume anywhere from 20 to 60 hours of Bitcoin-related content every single week. And that is not an exaggeration. I'm not kidding when I say that. I listen to podcasts that are 2, 3, 4 hours long at 2x speed on the regular. And when I was first getting into Bitcoin, it was more than that. It was somewhere in the range of 100 hours a week because where I work, I can do that. And so in an 8-hour shift, I would be listening to anywhere from 10 to 16 hours of Bitcoin related content. I'd get there and have one playing on my way to work, on the bike, earbud in, it's going. As soon as that earbud died, I'd switch to the earbud. One ear, back and forth, killing earbuds all day long because I'm listening to so much Bitcoin related content, as much as I could get my hands on, to figure out where's the hole in this thing. Couldn't find one. Could not find a single hole. So that's why I invested in it. And I assume that Saylor, given all the research and time that he's spent talking about it, has done something similar. I don't know if it followed my path, probably not, or if he followed my path, but he's put the work in. That's evident whenever you hear him talk about Bitcoin. It's plainly obvious. And he has an entire company utilizing this thing. You want to bet against this man? Okay. You'll lose. You will lose. That is something that I can guarantee. You bet against Saylor, you will lose. And what I mean by bet against is go, I don't think he's going to make money. I don't think this is going to work out. Oh, it's going to work. It's going to work. How well it's going to work and how fast it's going to work, now that's the question. That is the question. Is it going to 2x within a year? Is it going to 10x within a month? Is it going to 100x within 90 days? By the end of the... I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think it's going to 100x within 90 days. That seems very unlikely. But 5x, 10x within a year? With the incoming administration being as pro-Bitcoin as they are, and the rest of the world, the whole globe, looking to the United States, the leader of the free world, and copying our moves when we do things, do you think that they're just going to wait around on the sidelines and let us get a Bitcoin strategic reserve and not do anything about it? Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? This is the US saying, we understand how important it is to have petroleum. We're going to get as much as we can, or a really large stockpile. And other countries going, oh, wait, hey, I don't know exactly what this petroleum thing is. Or no, we do know in some cases. We also need to get some. We didn't really have the fire lit under our butts a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago. But now we do. Now we do. We're going to start setting up miners. We're going to start doing whatever we can. You're going to see poorer countries where they've got basically free energy, stranded energy, starting up like Bitcoin is going to go so high, so fast. I think that people's heads are going to spin right off of their shoulders. I truly think that there's a very, very good chance that Bitcoin does 250 to 500,000 within the next 2 years. And what does that mean for MicroStrategy just based off of that? Not accounting for all of the products that they're able to serve Wall Street, whose only goal in life is to make as much money as possible? I don't know what it does for their valuation, but it's a lot bigger than a 2x. So you put $1,000 in, you get $2,000 out, or is it a 10x? Do you put $1,000 in and you get $10,000 out, or you put $100,000 in and you get $1 million out? I don't know. I have no idea. Don't come to me and say that I told you any of this. I don't know. This is just my opinion, man. I'm going to leave you with that. Just my opinion. If any of this did not make sense, let me know why.